Why do those who scorn morality so often ascend to the pinnacle of power? Envision a world draped in the rhetoric of virtue, where sermons of goodness echo through the ages, yet the cunning, the unrelenting, the audacious carve their names into the annals of history. The righteous labor in the shadows, their hands calloused by honest toil, their hearts tethered to ideals of fairness and truth. Meanwhile, the deceitful glide through the cracks of society's moral facade, unshackled by conscience, their every move a calculated step toward dominion. They do not merely navigate the world. They bend it to their will, reshaping its course with a boldness that defies the timid constraints of ethics. History does not whisper this truth, it roars. From the blood-soaked conquests of ancient warlords to the sleek boardrooms of modern titans, the pattern is undeniable. Alexander the Great did not forge an empire with kindness. He razed cities and struck fear into the hearts of kings. Caesar did not claim Rome through humility. He wove webs of betrayal and ambition, stepping over the corpses of his rivals. Today's magnates, cloaked in charisma and corporate might, do not rise by adhering to the rules. They rewrite them, exploiting every loophole, crushing every obstacle. This is no mere coincidence, no fleeting glitch in the human story. It is the very architecture of existence, a brutal design etched into the fabric of our nature, where power is not a reward for goodness, but a trophy claimed by those who dare to seize it. The world does not bow to the meek or the just. It yields to those who understand its unspoken rules, that influence is won through strategy, not sincerity, that control is wrested, not granted. The virtuous may dream of a world where integrity reigns, but their dreams are trampled beneath the boots of those who act without hesitation. Audacity, not righteousness, is the currency of power. To claim the throne, one must shed the weight of moral restraint and embrace the fire of ambition, a fire that burns through doubt, fear, and the fragile illusions of fairness. Power does not bow to the altar of justice, nor does it unfurl its banner for the righteous. It is no gentle offering, no laurel tenderly placed upon the heads of the kind or the pure. Power is a hard-won prize, seized by those who move with unrelenting resolve, who cast aside hesitation like a worn cloak. We are raised on soothing fables, cradled by stories that promise diligence and integrity will light the way to triumph. Society weaves these tales into our minds, urging us to believe that goodness alone will earn us a seat at the table of greatness. Yet, when the veil of illusion is torn away, reality reveals a far more unforgiving truth. Power does not trickle to the deserving. It surges toward those who navigate its treacherous currents with cunning and command. This is no mere accident of fate, but a profound reflection of the human condition. Power, in its raw essence, is amoral, a force that cares not for the weight of virtue or the shimmer of ethical ideals. It flows to those who grasp its mechanics, who see the world not as a stage for fairness, but as a battlefield of wills. These are the architects of destiny, individuals who perceive the rules not as sacred laws, but as pliable tools, to be bent, reshaped, or discarded when they no longer serve. They understand that the levers of influence, be they in politics, commerce, or culture, are not pulled by trembling hands or guided by remorse. Instead, they act with a psychological clarity that borders on the sublime, a blend of ambition and pragmatism that allows them to exploit opportunities where others see only barriers. The virtuous, clinging to their principles, may labor tirelessly, their hearts alight with the hope that justice will prevail. But the world does not pause to honor their sacrifices. It is not designed to elevate those who play by its preached moral codes. It is built to reward those who master its unspoken dynamics. Consider the politician who sways the masses with honeyed words, or the magnate who topples rivals with ruthless precision. Their success stems not from adherence to ideals, but from a keen awareness of human nature's undercurrents: fear, desire, and the hunger for certainty. They manipulate these forces with the finesse of a sculptor, carving their path to dominance while others falter, paralyzed by the weight of conscience. Philosophically, this raises a haunting question: is power inherently at odds with morality? The answer lies not in condemning the pursuit of power, but in recognizing its nature. It is a river, vast and untamed, indifferent to the motives of those who seek to harness it. Those who rise are not necessarily devoid of ethics, but they refuse to let ethics become shackles. They wield power with a lucidity that transcends conventional morality, understanding that to shape the world, one must first claim the authority to do so. The world, in turn, does not celebrate the meek or the scrupulous. It kneels to those who dare to pull its strings, unburdened by the fear of judgment. Step into the political arena, a theater where influence casts a shadow far longer than truth. Here, the path to power is not paved with honor, but with the intricate dance of strategy. A leader who masters this craft does not merely speak. They enchant, weaving promises that shimmer with hope, tailored to the desires of the masses. Their words are not bound by sincerity, but by effect, swaying hearts with a precision that borders on artistry. Dissenters, those who challenge their ascent, are not met with debate, but with calculated silence, marginalized, outmaneuvered, or absorbed into the fold. This is no game of virtue. It is a psychological chessboard where ambition outranks integrity. Honor, though lauded in tales of heroism, proves a brittle shield against the relentless machinery of power. The leader who clings to it, refusing to bend, risks being crushed by those who understand that loyalty is fleeting and control is paramount. Now turn to the battlefield of commerce, where wealth is both sword and crown. In this unforgiving landscape, ruthlessness is not merely a trait, it is a necessity. The market, a vast and indifferent force, does not pause to reward compassion or fairness. It bows only to those who command its currents with unrelenting resolve. A leader who prioritizes equity over survival, who hesitates to cut losses or balks at exploiting fleeting opportunities, will find themselves outpaced by rivals who act without remorse. These victors make unflinching choices. They shutter factories to protect profits, seize market gaps with predatory speed, and dismantle competitors with cold efficiency. Their success is not born of kindness, but of a keen understanding of human nature, its greed, its fears, its relentless drive for more. The market does not cherish the tender-hearted. It exalts those who wield power with precision, who see every transaction as a battle and every decision as a step toward dominion. Philosophically, this unveils a stark truth about the human condition. Power thrives not on moral purity, but on the ability to navigate the world's raw mechanics. The political titan and the corporate conqueror share a common thread, a psychological acuity that allows them to read the unspoken desires of those they seek to lead or defeat. They exploit the gap between what people claim to value and what they truly pursue, manipulating perceptions to secure their place at the apex. Yet, this raises a haunting question. Does the pursuit of power demand the sacrifice of virtue? Not necessarily. The most enduring leaders temper their ruthlessness with calculated restraint, knowing when to project benevolence to win loyalty or when to strike to maintain control. Their morality is not a cage, but a tool, wielded with the same precision as their ambition. In both politics and commerce, the world does not elevate those who merely dream of fairness. It crowns those who shape reality to their will, undeterred by the weight of ideals. History's giants, Alexander, Caesar, Napoleon, did not rise through diplomacy or virtue. They burned, betrayed, and rewrote the world to their vision. Power demands control, not kindness. The rules we are taught to obey are crafted by those already in command, designed to tether the masses while the elite slip free. Fairness is a myth, a chain to bind the meek, ensuring only the bold break through. Friedrich Nietzsche's presence haunts this inquiry, his philosophy a piercing blade that slices through the fragile veil of morality. For Nietzsche, the concepts of good and evil are not eternal verities inscribed in the cosmos, but fragile human inventions, constructs forged in the crucible of social struggle. They are weapons, wielded not by the mighty but by the powerless, who, unable to grasp power themselves, devise moral systems to bind the strong. The weak, tethered to their lot, elevate virtues such as humility, patience, and kindness, cloaking their submission in the guise of nobility. These are not universal truths, but psychological tools, crafted to sanctify their resignation and curb the ambitions of those who might otherwise soar. By glorifying meekness, They seek to shame the bold, to chain the powerful to a code that ensures their own survival. Yet the strong, those rare souls who dare to gaze beyond the illusion, see morality for what it is, a cage woven from fear and envy. They reject its constraints, embracing instead what Nietzsche calls the will to power, the elemental force that pulses through all life. This is not a mere thirst for domination, but a profound drive to impose one's vision upon reality, to create rather than merely endure. It is the artist painting a masterpiece that defies convention, the philosopher shattering cherished dogmas, the conqueror redrawing the map of empires. For these figures, power is not about cruelty for its own sake. It is a refusal to be bound by the timid ideals of the herd, a bold assertion of individuality against the tide of conformity. They do not bow to the world's expectations. They bend the world to their design, crafting truths that resonate through history. Psychologically, this reveals a deep divide in human nature. The weak, driven by resentment, construct moralities that fetishize suffering and passivity, projecting their own powerlessness onto a universal ideal. Their virtues are a shield, protecting them from the terror of their own limitations. The strong, by contrast, are animated by a restless vitality, a need to transcend the ordinary and leave an indelible mark. They are not devoid of compassion, but they refuse to let it paralyze them. Their morality is not dictated by the masses, but forged in the fire of their own aspirations, rooted in excellence, courage, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. Philosophically, Nietzsche's insight forces us to confront a disquieting question. What if morality, as we know it, is less a path to truth than a mechanism of control? The will to power is not a call to chaos, but an invitation to authenticity, to live not as a shadow of others' values, but as the architect of one's own destiny. The greatest minds in history, Socrates challenging Athens, Michelangelo defying artistic norms, Napoleon reshaping Europe, did not follow the prescribed paths of their time. They saw through the myths of their era, daring to create their own. Their legacy endures not because they were kind or cruel, but because they refused to be tamed, embodying a psychological and existential courage that reshaped the contours of human possibility. In their defiance, we glimpse the essence of Nietzsche's vision. To live powerfully is to live authentically, unbound by the illusions that chain the many. Nietzsche's philosophy cleaves the moral landscape into two opposing realms, each a reflection of the human psyche's deepest impulses, the master morality of the bold and the slave morality of the subdued. The masters, those rare spirits who burn with vitality, define virtue through the lens of strength, ambition, and self-mastery. For them, life is a canvas for creation, a challenge to transcend limitations and impose their will upon the world. They prize not mere survival but excellence, a relentless drive to surpass the ordinary, to forge legacies that echo through time. Their morality is not borrowed from the crowd, but crafted from their own essence, rooted in dominance, courage, and the audacity to shape reality. These are the philosophers who defy dogma, the artists who shatter convention, the leaders who redraw the boundaries of possibility. Their virtues are not meek, but radiant, celebrating the power to create, to conquer, to become. In stark contrast lies the slave morality of the weak, those who, unable to rise, sanctify their powerlessness through a different creed. They glorify suffering, humility, and compliance, weaving a narrative that casts their submission as noble. Where the masters see strength as virtue, the slaves see it as sin, branding ambition as arrogance and dominance as cruelty. This is no mere difference of perspective, but a psychological defense, a way to justify their place at the margins. Resentment festers in their hearts, a quiet envy of those who dare to soar. By exalting patience, kindness, and victimhood, they construct a moral fortress that shields them from their own inadequacy, while condemning the powerful as immoral. Their virtues are not chosen but imposed, born of necessity rather than aspiration, designed to keep the herd in line and the strong in check. This dichotomy reveals a profound truth about human nature. Morality is not a universal law etched into the fabric of existence, but a human construct, shaped by the interplay of power and powerlessness. The slave's morality is a chain, forged to bind the mighty and preserve the status quo. It is a psychology of survival, rooted in fear of the unknown and envy of those who embrace it. The masters, by contrast, embody a psychology of ascent, driven by an inner fire that refuses to be dimmed. They do not resent the weak. They simply refuse to be defined by them. Their virtue is not a reaction but a creation, a bold assertion of their right to define good and evil on their own terms. Philosophically, Nietzsche's insight thrusts us into a crucible of choice. Will you accept the morality imposed upon you, a yoke designed to keep you docile, or will you dare to forge your own path? To choose the former is to surrender to convention, to live as a shadow of others' values, forever bound by the fear of standing apart. To choose the latter is to embrace the existential weight of freedom, to craft a morality that reflects your highest aspirations, untainted by the resentments of the crowd. This is not a call to cruelty but to authenticity, to live as a creator rather than a follower, to measure your worth not by the approval of the many but by the heights you dare to reach. The question Nietzsche poses is as timeless as it is urgent. Will you remain a prisoner of the herd's chains, or will you rise to sculpt a destiny that is uniquely your own? Yet power is a double-edged blade. Those who wield it ruthlessly often sow their own ruin. Caesar, master of Rome, fell to the daggers of allies turned foes, his ambition a beacon and a target. Napoleon, architect of empires, stretched too far, his hubris unraveling his dominion. Corporate empires, too, rise on cunning only to crumble when arrogance blinds them to change. Power demands balance, strength tempered by foresight, dominance paired with restraint. The reckless ascend, but only the wise endure. To claim power, one must shed naivety. Virtue alone will not lift you. The world does not reward the passive. Cultivate ambition that burns, decisiveness that cuts through doubt, and fearlessness that defies the unknown. Yet, strategy is paramount. Know when to ally, when to strike, when to yield. Power is not chaos, it is precision. Adapt, evolve, or perish. History buries those who cling to rigidity, while the adaptable shape the future. True power lies not in abandoning morality, nor in blindly embracing it, but in mastering both. The world does not bend to fairness or cruelty. It yields to those who see it clearly, who act with purpose and balance. Power is neither good nor evil. It is a force, a tool to build or destroy. Will you let it shape you, or will you shape it? The choice is yours, but history remembers only those who choose boldly. If you crave deeper insights into power philosophy and psychology, then subscribe to the channel. Challenge yourself, rise above, become more like this video, share it with those who need to hear the truth, and comment below. Is morality a weakness in today's world, or can true power exist without ruthlessness? Let's discuss.